Previously on Building the Grunge. Help you? Yeah, we're looking for a guy named Joey the Geek. There's pictures right here. Purports to deal with hints, tips, how-tos, and updates, but what he really did was promise to build some housing for some people and skipped out halfway through. Nah, I ain't seen him. Look, we know you know him. I gots to go now. No, man, you listen to me. You gotta get me out of here. They are closing in and the heat is on. We got a problem. Joey the Geek is in the wind. And now, part 2. Hi everybody, I'm Joey the Geek. Hi everybody, I'm Joe Parker of the Pixel Depot. In this episode of the Building the Grunge series, we're going to finish the construction of the tenement house that we started last time. If you missed it, I suggest you watch that first episode on building the structure. In that episode, we talked about what was in the box, the paints I decided to use on the main structure, prepping the windows, and basic assembly. I started with the Walthers Parkview Terrace tenement kit. This kit happened to be a perfect fit for the spot I had on the front corner of the layout. At the end of that first video, this is what the building looked like. It was in good shape, but still had a lot of work to be done to be called finished. So let's take care of that. Before we do, you can help me out by clicking on the subscribe button. Also, click on the bell so you'll get notified when there's new content available. As you heard, this channel purports to cover model railroading, including planning, hints, tips, how-tos, and updates. And we throw in the occasional goofy fictional skit. We got you surrounded, Joey. Come out with your hands up. So you recall when I painted the foundation, I did not paint the edges, so there is a space there where the color here does not match the foundation as I painted it there. So what I've done is I've taken this paper cup. These were purchased at the dollar store by my lovely wife, and that was in my stocking stuffer. I'm just going to take a micro brush here and just touch these areas up. All I did was take the Pebble spray paint and sprayed it into the cup over at the spray booth. I do things this way so that I don't have to worry about trying to find a match, railroad color or a craft paint or something like that. This allows me to just kind of go in and do these touch-ups. With everything glued to the foundation, I'm going to start to add the details. I painted all these previously, as you'll recall, and I'm going to start to add these in. Route these out just a little bit. Just want to double check the roof here and make sure that that overhang is not going to cause a problem, because this ladder, that should work out fine. Okay. I am going to use CA for this just because everything's painted at this point. But all I'm going to do here is take a little bit of CA on the tip of this toothpick and drop it into these holes. Place that ladder in there. Hopefully that will take. Next step is to glue these pieces in. I can at least run it along here. I actually think I need to trim that down, so I'm going to. Once again, run our bead along here. Platform in there. Repeat that process a couple of times. Adhesion, I'm going to add some CA to the back of this as well. So while that CA is hopefully setting, I'm going to go in here and paint some sills. Probably should have done this earlier, but One of those things I kind of forgot about. But this, you know. This assembly comes in two pieces, an inner railing and an outer railing, with stairway pieces to glue in the middle. Those railing pieces drop into holes in the foundation sheet. Put the stairs in. That was the next step. They are setting now. We'll follow that up with this piece here once that sets up a little bit. This one as well. Drop that in the holes. Drop that in the holes. Push that down a little bit. Still having some trouble with that one piece of stairway in there. So let's see if we can't take care of that before things go too awry. Just putting some weight on there to make sure that that stays down while it sets. Doesn't want to quite stick to that front. So again, while that's setting in preparation for some upcoming steps, I am going to remount these holes a little bit. These are the holes that the gutters glue into. Those holes can fill up with paint and other things, and sometimes they're just not large enough to begin with from the casting process. Okay, so now one of the last pieces to go in here is this railing piece, and that's gonna be interesting, I think. Well, put a little bit of CA on there and drop it in there. There's a notch that it's supposed to sit in. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to show you this part of it, but I think it's going to be easier if I lay it on there. Or maybe not. Go for a different set of tweezers. Go for straight ones here. Instructions, they do tell you to put this in before putting on this outer railing, but I didn't see how that was going to provide any support for it to hang there, so I did it this way instead. And we will see how this works out. So far, not so good. There we go. Alright, got it to sit on there. So this piece over here. And we'll let that set up for a couple minutes and dry before we move on to the next piece. Okay, so I added the small steps down here at the bottom and the railing. I have just test fit the gutters here, and I'm about to glue those in right now. I think the way that I'm going to do this is actually go from the back. So I guess I really don't need to take these out. And a couple of spots it just does sort of press fit in, so that's good. What I intend to do here is just sort of slop CA into those holes. And the idea there is that it will sort of ooze down into that hole and stick to the back of the piece. Both of the bottom ones I've blocked with the Lego pieces, so this is going to have to just do as it is. So once again, we'll let that set for a couple of minutes, and then we'll come back and do some weathering. I've moved the model over to the Grunge layout itself just so we can have a good angle for doing the weathering. I want to be able to show you from the front rather than the aerial view that I use for construction. This is my 1 to 1/20th India ink wash, and I am just going to start up here at the top, and that will roll down. Just going to kind of go across and wet everything. I'm not going to worry too much about the inside just because, well, it wouldn't get much weather in there. So just going to kind of leave it alone. Hopefully you can see as that's rolling down there that, you know, it's giving it that effect of rolling down the front. The gutters are in place, so it will move around those. And the nice thing about this level, or this concentration, I should say, of the India ink wash is that you get a little bit more control than the 1 to 60 that I use on some of the other things. So you can gauge it a little better. I'm going to get in here. Give it a little bit of coverage there. Other thing that's kind of nice about this is on the concrete, quote unquote concrete area down there at the bottom, it's going to give that some randomness that it doesn't have with just the paint. So throw this in here and then go to the other side. And that randomness is what we're looking for, especially with the weathering. You know, I did do a lightish touch with the orange when I went over it with the brick color, so that, you know, some of that original brick color would show through, and it wouldn't be, you know, quite such a bright orange. But, you know, using this gray wash, things sort of stick in where it wants to stick. And you get some interesting variations in there. The bottom would be darker than the top because you get more rolling down there. So we're going to let that dry. It's an alcohol-based wash, so it doesn't take very long to dry. Okay, I've given this another wash of the India ink, and I think it's basically where I want it to be in terms of the level of dirtiness. So we're going to go and finish the construction now. So there are two pieces left to attach, and that's these caps. I've painted those terracotta. I'll attach those right here. On both sides. let those set as well. Now it's time to go do some windows, and apparently I've got some CA fumes going on here because these have stuck together. Interesting. Not too many, but some. Alright, well, we'll just have to get creative. So this is just simply a matter of taking a micro brush, and I'm going to dip it in the future, give it a good coat, and then drop it on the window pane. Okay, all the windows are in, and I hope they've all adhered. The back end here, as you can see, looks pretty ugly, but that's because of all of the construction pieces that needed to go on. The front of the building is considerably more good looking. In my opinion, this is ready to go on the layout. There's still some detailing to be done, but that'll be a topic for another video. So let's get on the layout. As you can see from these before and after shots, the building contributes a much more finished look to the area. I just used a piece of foam core here to provide a temporary view block, but my plan is to get another piece of gator foam and paint it the same sky color as the main backdrop. Then use that as a view block to hide the staging and the bookcase that's beside the layout in this area of the room. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way this structure came out. As I mentioned, there are a number of details that I want to add to the building, especially since it's in such a prominent area on the layout. It's basically one of the first things you see, if not the first thing, when you come in and look at the layout, so I wanted to have some extra detail. I also need to finish the ground around this building, adding sidewalks, the street, and the beginnings of scenery. Those tasks will be the topics of our next couple of videos on the grunge. So that's all for this episode. We're making real progress on this layout, and this right side especially is really starting to come together. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments below. I do read them all, and I've gotten some good suggestions in the past from viewer comments, so don't hold back. If you enjoyed this video, click on the like button, and make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you'll be the first to know when new videos go live. This really does help me because it tells YouTube that people are watching and enjoying what they see. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Those links are also in the description below. For previous episodes about the grunge, as well as other great content, check out these great links over here. I'm Joe Parker of the Pixel Depot. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll meet me next time in the train room.